Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Beauty and the Beast, the remake. Oh, always gotta make an entrance. So, everybody, here it is, my review of the 2017 live-action movie of Beauty and the Beast, directed by Bill Condon, starring Emma Watson and Dan Stevens, and a whole load of other people. Oh boy, I apologise if I look a bit dark. I'm trying to let the light in here, but it's not working very well. Anyway, so, if you haven't seen my other review, I reviewed the animated movie of 1991 on my channel, so if you haven't want to know my thoughts on that, then do check that review out. If you haven't seen the review, or even if you have seen the review, I will explain the plot again. I know it's the same movie in live action, but it's for the purpose of the way I do my reviews. I'll just do that. So, Beauty and the Beast, the live action story. It's pretty much the same story as the animated movie. A greedy prince turns down a young woman who's seeking refuge. He, because of his selfishness and vanity, rejects her, and then she reveals herself as an enchantress. He begs for forgiveness, she refuses, and then transforms him into a beast, and curses him under this flower, to which, if he does not learn to love, and if he does not get a woman to fall in love with him by the time the last petal falls, he will remain a beast forever, and so will the people in his castle remain items of crockery forever. And then we focus on Belle, the young girl in the French village. Her father's an inventor. They all think she's a bit peculiar because she's a fantasist, and she dreams of a more than this provincial life that she's living in. And then antagonist Gaston, he is trying to win her affections. She's not having any of it. So then her father goes off to do some kind of fair. Then he gets attacked by wolves and seeks refuge in the castle. The beast imprisons him. Belle goes to rescue him and then takes his place. And then the supporting crockery, they try and get Belle and the beast to fall in love and basically set him free of his curse by helping him become a better person. And then Belle does fall in love with him, obviously, and then she goes to find her father and stop him being taken away in the mental asylum. Then Gaston and all the villagers see the beast, and then they go to attack the castle in a big climactic fight, and then Belle must get to the beast in time before he dies. Yeah, that's another way of explaining the plot of Beauty and the Beast. So, the 2017 live-action version of Beauty and the Beast. You know, I didn't really have any expectations going into this movie. I kind of, you know, I only really wanted to see this movie because Emma Watson was in it. That might sound like a silly reason, but genuinely speaking, that is the reason. So how is the film overall? Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not perfect, and it's not terrible. It's good. It's decent. I don't think it's going to be as timeless as the animated one, for sure. But I think, you know what? Despite the reviews, I actually thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. Whether how much of a compliment that is, I don't know, is hard to determine. But, it sticks pretty closely to the animated movie, which is nice, I guess, in a way. I mean, I like the cast very much. The cast are fantastic. Emma Watson as Belle. You know, I happen to be a very big fan of Emma Watson. We've seen her grow up in the Harry Potter movies as Hermione, so to see her in this movie is kind of interesting because she's playing a lead female and she's doing the love interest role, and a role such as Belle requires singing, and obviously Emma Watson does sing in this movie. And boy, oh boy, her singing is beautiful. She has a great singing voice. And I hope she gets more roles in, like, musicals or musical films, because her singing voice is great, and she carries this movie with her singing voice and her emotional performance. And she plays the character really well. You know, she gets sort of the peculiarity of Belle quite right, but there's an innocence that Emma Watson brings to the role, which I think is really nice. Is she as good as the voice actress from the animated movie? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But Emma Watson did fantastic, and she definitely carries the movie, and she has some emotionally powerful scenes in here, and she does the love story is sweet. It's very nicely done. And the fact that it's in live action it's just a different incarnation of the original story. And Emma Watson is very beautiful as well. She really suits the dress, actually. She really does suit the dress. And she has a great relationship with her father, who's played by Kline, and they do a very good job establishing that. So Emma Watson is a star, and definitely the best performance of the movie by far. And they cast her really well. What can I say? I'm a bit of an Emma Watson fanboy. I do have a bit of a crush on her, but that's beside the point. You know what I mean. Okay, who else have we got? We've got Dan Stevens, who plays the Beast, or the Prince. He's pretty good, actually. I didn't think he was going to be that good. But I sort of slowly got used to his voice after a while, because they kind of altered his voice in post. And so they tried to make him sound kind of similar, but kind of not, to Robbie Benson, who voiced the Beast in the animated movie. They gave him more of a boom onto his voice. He plays the role quite well. A lot of sensitivity. I don't think he does the anger side of him quite well. Like, he doesn't go into full-blown rage. He goes into rage, but not like Robbie Benson did in the animated movie. So I think he could have gone a bit further with the rage, but you could definitely see the change there. And his singing was also very good. He has his own song, actually. They added his own song in. I'll talk about the songs in a bit, though. Luke Evans as Gaston. Fantastic. What a great casting choice. I mean, Luke Evans isn't the most hench guy in the world, but that doesn't matter, because you know what? He gave it his all. He played an absolute dick, and you believed him. You believed him. He was fantastic. Josh Gad plays LeFou. Now, regarding LeFou being gay, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You know what? Who the fuck cares? Does it affect the story? No. Was it necessary to do it? You know, maybe, maybe not. But I understand why Disney did it. They were trying to be more diverse. You know, why the fuck has there been so much controversy around this? You know, it's a fucking film. It doesn't affect... His character was always kind of flamboyant anyway in the animated movie. So why the fuck are people so bothered by it? I mean, you know... I mean, yes, this film is played for a young audience, and, you know, but it's only ever... In this film, it's only ever hinted at. It's an innuendo. It's never expressed fully. He's not, like, slobbering all over Gaston, like, oh, Gaston, I love you. You know, there are subtle moments where he shows his feelings for Gaston and his affections towards him, but does it affect the story? No! No, it doesn't! So stop complaining! Sorry, rant over. For what it's worth, Josh Gad played the part very well, and I like his performance very much. Although, again, there's a disassociation with this. I mean, this is set in France. Why couldn't everybody do French accents? And why is LeFou American? It doesn't make sense, but I'm not going to ramble on about that, because they won't ever change that. Kevin Kline as Maurice. I feel his performance was a bit of a hit and miss. There were times when I didn't really believe him in the role. You know, there were times when he was quite good, and then there were times... So his performance fluctuates between sort of like good and bad. It's kind of a mixed bag, his one. You know, you believe at one point he's a crazy old man, and you're just like, oh, he's an actor reading his lines. There wasn't enough conviction in his performance, so that would have been nice to see more of. Who else do we have? Oh, of course, we have Ewan McGregor as Lumiere and Ian McKellan as Cogsworth. These guys were great. I was a bit concerned about Ewan McGregor, because Ewan McGregor... I saw a clip of Ewan McGregor on YouTube on the Graham Norton show, when he was asked about Beauty and the Beast, and then he was asked about recording the song, and then he said at one point he couldn't do the accent, and he sounded Mexican. He was, be our guest, put our service to the test. But in this film, his accent was great, and was perfectly convincing, and the Be Our Guest number was great. It was really fun, if a little over the top. As I said, I'll go into the songs in a bit. You have Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts. I didn't actually know it was her until recently, after seeing the sort of the Pearl and Dean featurette in my cinema. After seeing that, I thought, oh, Emma Watson's Mrs. Potts. Oh, great. And she puts on a nice sort of Cockney accent, and it's sort of paying homage to Angela Lansbury, which I really appreciated. So that was nice. And Nathan Mack, who plays Chip, he's good. He does some good voice work. That's pretty much the main cast, really. They all do a great job. I think what attracts me most about this movie is, well, apart from the music, is the production design. Bill Condon, for nothing else, he's made it look really cool. He's definitely paid homage to the animated movie. The castle is done in a similar kind of light, and you know, the sort of the feel of it definitely has kind of feels like the animated film. The charm of it is reminiscent of that animated movie. So it's nice. It's a nice homage, I will say. As for Bill Condon himself, the director, this is a guy that directed Twilight. So I can understand people having their reservations, but I mean, well, this is way better than Twilight. Don't get me wrong. This is way better than Twilight. He does okay, I guess, for the most part. Most of the scenes are done competently well, but there are times when you feel like the movie's kind of sagging a bit, and it's like, oh, come on, don't trudge through it. Just be passionate about it. It kind of lacks a passion. That's what I was missing from this movie. It lacks passion. I mean, the story is stretched out to 2 hours 10 minutes, which is kind of unnecessary for me. Like, the added story elements were nice, like the whole backstory regarding Belle's mother, which ended up being quite dark. But I mean, if it's in the original story, then fair enough. But that would never have been in the animated movie. And a couple of extra songs as well. It's not really necessary. This movie's too long. It goes on for too long, and the pacing kind of sags in certain scenes. You kind of feel like they spend a while sort of. It takes a while for them to actually start falling in love. Whereas the animated movie has such a vigorous pace. This movie lacks the momentum of that pace that you had in the original film. I mean, it was good enough, but you feel like you could lose about 15-20 minutes of this. It's not all necessary. Also, the scene when Maurice is captured and attacked by the wolves, that was the worst scene of the movie. It was so badly done. Like, it lacked the heft. It lacked the physical heft of the animated one with the action, which is surprising because that movie's drawings primarily like 100% hand drawn. And same with the scene when the Beast rescues Belle from the wolves as well. It was all right, but it lacks the impact. There's a lack of impact with this movie. However, what it does have is heart. The heart is in the right place. I appreciate what it's trying to do, but it lacks the impact. And when they do fall in love, it is very sweet. It's very nice. And the songs, yes, most of these songs are obviously we already know from the animated movie. I do appreciate that this movie actually had the songs in there, really, because the previous films, like the Jungle Book remake, only had like 2 of the songs. Why? You know, or even like 1.5. Not even really 2 songs. And the Cinderella live action remake don't think it had any songs, as far as I'm aware. I can't remember about that one anyway. But this one has all the songs, which is nice. One of the best is actually the opening song, Belle, which is done in like the little market town, which I thought was very great. And Emma Watson's voice, she has a beautiful singing voice. She has a beautiful singing voice, and that's a very well directed moment there. Other songs like the Gaston song is really, really nice. When she does her reprise, when she goes on the hills, I mean, you expect her to start singing Hills Alive in The Sound of Music, which apparently she did in an outtake, which is funny. And then the Gaston song, which is nowhere near as good as the animated one, but it's still fun. They have changed it a little bit to make it fit with the scene they're trying to do. And you've also got Be Our Guest, sung by Ewan McGregor, which is great. It gets a bit over the top with kind of the showbiz catwalk thing that they do at the very end, but it's good. It's good enough. I think, but they do go a bit too far with it, I think. What else have you got? Yeah, there may be something there that wasn't there before. That's well done, I guess. you've got the new songs I'll talk about in a sec. Yeah, and then you've got Taylor's Oldest Time, which is great. That scene is nice. Again, doesn't have as much impact as the animated movie, but still it works. And Emma Thompson has a nice voice and brings a nice softness to that. As for the new songs, none of them really stood out for me, other than the Beast's one. The Beast has his own song. After Belle leaves the castle to find her father, he bursts into song. And I thought, actually, this fits really well. It's nice and emotional. It's not the best song ever, but it fits well with this version of the story. And, you know, I like it. The other ones, like the one about Belle's childhood, which is so brief, you might as well have not bothered putting it in there. And that scene when they travel to Paris, it just wasn't necessary. Like, I mean, you could have just had the backstory of Belle's mother. He could have just told that to her in the beginning. You know, you could have just mentioned about the mother's death in the beginning. You didn't need to drag it out into the whole lengthy scene. I mean, the flashback was quite emotional. It was emotionally done right, but it was just ill-timed. And then the other one, which I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I've forgotten it. But there was another one. So, yeah, I mean, the production it looks great. It looks expensive, and it looks well done. The score as well is good. The music score as well. The movie's charming. It has some nice moments, but it's not as charming or funny as the original one. The climax of this movie is entertaining to a point. But it lacks impact. It lacks impact until that final confrontation with Gaston and the Beast and Belle. And then the last scene when he, you know, the very end of the movie is nice and emotional, and you know, the mood of that is right. But the climax, which is like the final battle, it's not as strong. However, I will say this: as well as this movie is a big fat fucking cash grab, which it is. It still managed to entertain the young children, because I saw this in a screen with loads of young kids. Me and my friend, we were sitting around. There was loads of young kids. And when we walked out of the cinema, I was waiting for my friend outside the loo, and there was a little girl, I think, that said, "Oh, that movie was really great." And I thought, well, at least the movie has that purpose in mind. At least it has a purpose, and at least it's for a new generation. So this will be their Beauty and the Beast film. My personal movie preferred one is the animated one, but I still thought this was decent enough for what it was. The CGI in the Beast actually wasn't too distracting. It was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The direction just wasn't as polished, and it just needed more passion. It needed more impact. But you know, for what it's worth, I enjoyed this movie. It was good enough. I'm going to give Beauty and the Beast, the live-action remake, a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's decent. It'll do. I am so glad that Emma Watson was in it, though. She did absolutely brilliantly. But yeah, it was a great big fat fucking cash grab. Why do they remake the good movies? Remake the crap ones. Remake the crappy movies and make them better. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Tune in next time. I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Who: The Reign of Terror. So until then, thank you all for watching. And as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.